My friend and I finally expressed how we feel about each other, and I'm over the moon, head over heels for her. However, she left town for work for 6 months, and I'm constantly having to rein myself in because all I want to do is text her all day. Do you have any tips on not overdoing it early on? I'm still working, which helps for 8 hours at a time. I really don't want to overwhelm this girl. She's like no one I've ever known. Story 1. Tennis match rules. Hit the ball and wait for it to return. If it goes too long, serve again. Check in to make sure all is good. It's okay if you don't talk every day when away from each other. May all your conversations be as simple as a tennis match. Story 2. Don't forget who you are. Make time for yourself where you do things separately from her. This way, you have something cool to talk about later, keeping the conversations interesting and fresh. As romantic as it may sound, you have to make sure you remain healthily obsessed. Don't make them the center of everything, or you'll lose yourself, and that won't end well, I promise. Being in love is great, and I'm happy you found yourself a lady worth obsessing over. Story 3. There is a fine line between seeming needy and being sweet. I have found it best that you keep the conversation going, but don't reply within seconds all the time. Keep showing interest, but don't be overbearing. Every girl is different with how much to text them and the attention they want. I know it's not the best advice, but you just have to learn what she is comfortable with. I wish you luck. Story 4. It's a dance. You respond to her gestures, and she responds to yours. If one of you escalates slightly, it's up to the other to match the new level of response. What you don't want is one repeatedly escalating without allowing the other to match them. Continuing the dance metaphor, this would be like starting with a slow dance together, and midway through, one of them letting go and showing all their best moves. The important part is to stay together on the same level, making sure you're both comfortable as the relationship progresses. Story 5. I try to reply when I can, but I don't make a woman the most important thing in my life, even if I love her. If I'm, for instance, playing a game, I'll finish what I'm doing before replying. Sometimes that's 20 minutes later. As much as I like my girlfriend, my world doesn't revolve around her. Guys need their hobbies and their own stuff. The individual comes before the relationship, at least for me. I think that's led to healthy, non-needy relationships. It's important to be relaxed and not overwhelm a woman you like. Reply to her messages when you have time. Don't message repeatedly without a response, and don't wait for her. Do your own thing. The same goes for close distance as well. Just be relaxed, don't worry so much, and judge when she needs you to go into show me you care mode. Story 6. First, congratulations. Second, just talk to her about when to text and so on. If you don't feel you're there yet, just keep a sort of loose conversation going over the course of the day. Shies, man. Story 7. Try not to romanticize her by viewing her as something extraordinary or one of a kind. Doing so will get you very much attached to her. It will get to the point where you will have to fight yourself mentally in order to avoid texting her for even one day. It seems like you already know her pretty well, so I would suggest partaking in some hobbies to further pass the time when you are not at work to distract you. Also, talk to other girls. Please remember that she is out of town for 6 months. Anything can happen in that time period, as she is around other men and away from you. This is especially important if you are not officially exclusive. Good luck. Story 8. Hi friend. Girl here. I'd like to say that sometimes it's really nice to get multiple messages, but leave an hour or so in between. And don't text back right away unless you're having an active conversation. That helps you also think of what you're going to say so you can be super cool. I find it's nice sometimes to open my phone and see I've got a couple of messages, so you can send things like what you've observed, or thoughts you've had about random things that you want to share, or something from Reddit you thought she'd like. It's not overwhelming then, it's just stuff you wanted to share with her. You know what I mean? To help you minimize it, consider whether you're sending her something you could just talk to her about when you're on the phone, in which case save it, or if it's just a random thing like, there's a crow that's been sitting on the fence for like an hour now and I'm suspicious, which is just a casual observation that won't work in conversation later. I'm bored at work, so sorry for the ramble. You got this, don't worry. Story 9. Try to read the energy of the conversation. If both of you are enthusiastic at any point, Then keep the conversation rolling. Eventually, the conversation will die down, and when that happens, it's best to just let it rest. Don't force anything, especially a boring conversation. Let it flow naturally. If she likes you, a slightly bad conversation will not bother her. Story 10. You're smart for trying to rein yourself in. It's not fun to be head over heels for a girl super early on and then be heartbroken after only knowing her for such a short period of time. Be easy, friend. Story 11. You need to dial it back for sure, or you will definitely mess this up. Take it from me, do not do what you are doing. If anything, your texting interactions should be random and sporadic, or you will take away her ability to get dopamine from your interactions. You'll be too easy, too predictable. Not a challenge. Sometimes this can be just being too excited, maybe just lacking tact, but sometimes it might mean you have an anxious attachment style, like me. Research these. If you find out you might have this attachment style, look into Brianna McWilliam on YouTube for attachment style videos. This type of 0 to 100 speed freaks women out. Trust me. Dial it back, man. When you think you have to text her, focus on your breathing. In through your nose for 5 seconds, hold for 7, exhale for 8. Refocus. Recenter yourself. Do not squeeze the proverbial balloon of the relationship so hard it pops immediately. It's okay to like people. It's okay to be excited. It's a bad idea to let them know how intensely you feel and how fast you felt this way. Trust me when I say this. It's almost like the relationship fills you up and makes your circumference very big super fast. They might be into you and might be keen, but if they compare how they feel to how it seems like you feel, by comparison it might freak them out and make it easier to move away than play catch up and feel like they are on a pedestal. Another strategy you should definitely employ is getting better hobbies. Get hobbies that take your time and attention away from seeming like a clingy guy. Be excited about them. Even share them with her or talk about them. Just don't make it seem like she's the only thing going on in your life and everything revolves around your next moves together. Or you'll mess this up. Story 12. Well, I'll tell you what. Before I got with my fiancée, I was stationed overseas 7,000 miles from her, and that's when we really began talking. Fortunately, we were able to talk every day and hadn't missed a single one. Here's the takeaway I can give you. Keep open communication if you can, and don't make it sound like you're needing her attention or that you're trying to force her. Instead, use it as a time to make plans, improve yourself physically, get good at games, and keep learning how to be a better man in a relationship. What can you do to ensure this relationship is your best effort and that things stay positive as much as possible? Focus on those things and you will not regret it. Also, take it as a time to get to know each other well. Story 13. Think about how not to appear needy. Text her to give something like a cool picture, a warm thought, a joke, or whatever. Don't ever text her because you desperately need a reply. You text her for her own entertainment, and it's fine if she doesn't reply. Try to apply the rule. Reply to her in at least the same time she takes to do so. Realize that her falling out of love from being apart is a possibility, and accept it. The more you struggle with that, the more desperate you get, and the quicker you lose her. Confidence in yourself is attractive, so stay confident and entertain her until then. Story 14. I would say don't overtext her. Focus on making her as comfortable as possible while feeling satisfied, rather than feeling tempted to text her. Also, remember this should be a two-way relationship, whatever that means. Story 15. Well, it depends. Part of any relationship is openness, honesty, empathy, and good communication. So you should always try to think about your partner's life and how you fit into it at the moment. But you're allowed to be excited and really happy that you both are at this stage of things. You obviously don't want to change how you would normally react because who you are is the reason why they're into you. Now things might go really well, they might not, and there might be some bumps in the road. None of that you can know until you're further down the track and they happen. But being excited about where you are now is great. And you should say that explicitly. Hey, I just wanted to say I'm really enjoying things and where we are. If I start texting too much, just let me know. I won't get offended. I just lost my chill since we started going out, but it's slowly coming back. You might also be feeling insecure or nervous about the physical distance, that you're into her and that you feel vulnerable, and is she actually into you? What if she meets someone there? What if this becomes too much work? If you already have a relationship, then the trick is to be honest about that too, without putting any accountability on her. It's not her fault you have feelings of insecurity or inadequacy. Everyone feels those in life sometimes when they're emotionally vulnerable. Communication is almost always the key. Hey, just for your information, I feel like I'm holding back a lot of texts that I want to be sending at the moment because the world is weird and I like hearing from you. I know you have other stuff going on, but it's quieter here than normal. So if I start texting you too much, just give me the heads up. Context is key in communication with anyone. By letting her know, hey, I'm emotionally and cognitively aware that I might act a certain way unconsciously, that might be viewed as one thing, annoying, but it is a symptom of something else. I feel insecure, uncertain, nervous. And here's how I would like you to communicate to me if that becomes a problem. Then people think, ah, ok, gotcha. Will do. Isn't it great he knows himself well enough to identify these behaviors that might be an issue, and that he has emotional control over that? A way I can easily let him know that it's an issue, and that he's able to resolve it himself from there. Story 16, marry her. Seriously though, does it seem like she wants to be texting back to you all day? If she is responsive, then keep doing it because you have far more to lose by not doing it. If you stop and hold yourself back, you may lose your shot. 6 months is a long time. She said she shares your feelings, so just go for it. Be yourself. Be honest. If you find something silly you think is funny and want to share with her, share it with her. At the end of the day, if you act like yourself and she doesn't stick it through with you, then you're better off elsewhere anyway. Story 17. Just be cute and text something like looking forward to seeing her when she gets back and life goes back to normal. I am a girl, and I would be fine in this situation with a guy just being like, I don't think anyone's been in this situation before, and I hope I don't annoy you by texting you too much. I would love to know how much you want to stay in contact. If she likes the amount you're texting her already, she will say something along the lines of it being all good. If she wants to change your texting frequency to be more frequent, she will probably be flirtatious. Like, I feel like I annoy you. But if it's a bit much or feels distracting to her, she will probably say something about it being best to reach out after work, and she might be bad at replying on this day or that day as she has another commitment. Well, that's what I would do anyway. I hope you find this helpful. Story 18, don't do it, brother. Everyone has already explained why, but I can tell you from my own experience. I was constantly texting a girl I really cared for once, and she got bored. I decided to change my ways and leave it on read. When I saw her that night, she asked me why it had taken me 6 hours to respond to her text. Sadly, it was too late to save that relationship, but I hope yours goes great. Just remember, men crave affection and sex, while women crave attention and excitement. Story 19. You have to take a hit in the groin multiple times and become a shell of yourself who cannot feel anything anymore. Then you will never have any problem with this again. Story 20. I mute her in WhatsApp. I've been doing it for 2 weeks and it's such a relief. Don't get me wrong, I really like her and like you, I could spend the whole day texting. But by muting her on messages and not getting notifications, it helps me lead a more relaxed life and focus on myself a bit. Then when I do open WhatsApp, I see her messages. I've got her in my emergency dials anyway, so if she calls, it'll ring, but texting is really relaxed thanks to the muting. Story 21. Be cool. Don't go crazy. It's so easy to fall into. I fell harder and faster than anyone should. It makes it all the harder if something happens or goes wrong. As excited as you are, don't do anything stupid. Don't be jealous, selfish, or greedy. Wow. Brag about her to everyone. Call and talk as often as you can. If you can manage it, make plans to meet once or twice a month. Follow through on it. Go ahead and brag some more. Of course, it sounds easy what to do and not do, but somehow so many people fail. We forget that love is a choice, an action we have to choose and remind ourselves of every day. There is no trick, just love. Story 22. Just turn off your notifications so you won't be drawn to your phone all the time. This should deal with replying within seconds as well. Try focusing on yourself while she is away. The thing is, when someone comes off as needy, they usually are. Playing games doesn't really help, like asking yourself, how long do I wait until I reply? Because it only leads to frustration and overthinking the topic you're already kind of obsessed about. You want to be your natural self because that's the person your partner fell in love with to begin with. If you can be happy by yourself and spend quality time on your own, there should be no problem in my opinion. So I would rather work on that instead of fretting over when and how to reply. Good luck. Story 23. I'm sure this has been said, but just check in every now and then and tell her to let you know if you're messaging too much. Just ask if she loves being contacted and knowing you're thinking of her or if she wants a bit of a break. Story 24. Congratulations. This is big stuff and you should be over the moon. My 2 cents. Directly ask her what her communication preference is while she's away. It does wonders to ensure clarity, and you'd be surprised how often the answer is, "Oh my gosh, all the time. You are such a cutie." This way, you two can set parameters that work for both of you and even plan some special hangout time, long distance. Best of luck with this new love. Enjoy every moment.